My question here is now about the PTSD um, and the traumas. TBI traumas, traumas from childhood, traumas from the war. There's so many type of PTSD people acquire, and how in a medical world, in a rehab world, we as an occupational therapist help them with the cognitive rehab. How the PTSD can be removed from the root problem and not just treat the symptoms of
I'm very happy that now at least people are recognizing
it.
PTSD as an issue,
Mhm.
because for such a long time PTSD was ignored at great cost of the people who suffered from it.
Mhm.
I have had the good opportunity to work in rehabilitation in PTSD for the armed forces, PTSD from women who have suffered from abuse.
Mhm.
And what I have seen is that most important becomes to once again reintroduce structure into the life of a person who has suffered, because that traumatic stress is a bondage, is a hindrance, and again and again it's like a cloud in which you are living your life. It becomes a thermometer through which you evaluate all future experiences. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to introduce a structure, a balance in that person's body and in that person's brain. Because I want you to think about it. Our psychology affects our physiology. If we are again and again having stressful thoughts, they are going to impact our body. There are going to be down days. There are going to be days when I am feeling completely lethargic, when I am physically not feeling capable to do what a normal person is supposed to do. So we must bring that focus back into the body, and then there are a lot of these beautiful Shiv yogic yoga of the immortal protocols that can bring that strength back to the body, and slowly we start to develop through these AVS mindfulness protocols structure back into the cognitive awareness of such a person, so that they can start to end the evaluation of the present with the past. In fact, through meditation, we have seen that every single person is going to take the past into the present. But after meditation, he starts to bring the future into the present. So rather than letting the trauma define me, why not let the goal guide me? Goal could be success, goal could be health, goal could be happiness, and that brings motivation. But trauma brings pain, it brings misery, it brings hopelessness. So we are doing something, we are bringing a shift in our consciousness from past to present rather than future to present, and then staying in that state of present to experience life. And we have seen a lot of lives changed. We had an excellent success ratio while working with members of different militaries. We had excellent success ratios when working with women who've gone through emotional trauma, physical trauma, and even mental trauma. And that is beautiful, because many times people who are just dependent upon chemical external aid, then they become dependent upon them. And the body, rather than being empowered to go back into a state of balance, homeostasis, equilibrium, the body sort of becomes dependent upon that chemical equilibrium that is created. And it's an illusion of an equilibrium, because after some time, the dosage of the medicine has to increase and the person starts to act like a zombie,
Yeah.
and he's dependent, and that completely defeats the purpose, where the purpose was to empower the human being so that it can become like what it was before the trauma.
Right.
Because you see, there is always an after,
Right.
a before and after, when it comes to trauma. Now we have to understand that how can we go back to what we were. We cannot be the same Maybe we can try to be stronger.
Mhm.
Maybe we cannot change the past, but at least we can work in a manner that we can mitigate the effect that the past has upon us.
Correct.
We don't have to numb the past,
Mhm.
but we have to meditate, learn, hypothesize internally in such a manner
Mhm.
in which we can change the effect past has upon us. So rather than debilitating,
Mhm.
it becomes empowering. And that is something we have done with so many patients, and I'm sure something that you have also experienced in your practice, where we can reduce the dependency on chemical stimulus and we can make a person functional not just the way they were, but in a better version
Right.
than they were.
We agree, Ishan Shivanand, that PTSD has to be treated holistically. Otherwise, the emotional trauma never goes away. With our cognitive rehab training, what we do is reprogram the brain, we tell them to compensate, we tell them to adapt, but we never teach them how to relieve this underlying emotional trauma. And that's the beauty of the meditative techniques. We don't call it techniques, but the practice that Ishanji teaches is how to release. So again, we come back to the same question that we had earlier, that why apps cannot do that. No, apps cannot do that. You have to come in person. And he actually uses the power of breath, and maybe you can explain a little more about that power of breath, how you help to release the emotional trauma.
There are whole systems.
Mhm.
You see, every single person has defense mechanism through which they evolve a personality. Shakespeare said that all the world's a stage and everybody is wearing a mask. Now, it is true. We have so many masks that we have created that we have forgotten who we are. And when it comes to cognitive therapy, if you're just talking to a person, you don't know which mask you are talking to.
Mhm.
And that mask may not be the root cause of a person's problem. So a person may have a problem, but suddenly he becomes defensive, goes in a shell, the problem sinks inside, and you are giving nice, educative information to that person. He will not accept it. You are talking to that person's cerebral cortex when the limbic system is at play. Think about it. Emotion overpowers logic. A lady will say, I'm afraid of a cockroach. Logically doesn't make sense. Look at the cockroach. Look at that lady. If she sits on the cockroach needs occupational therapy. But you can't explain that cognitively to a human being because
Mhm.
she will say yes, 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 because that time the mask is talking, not the real
Right.
person. You put that cockroach in her lap. For a second, the real thing will come and she will shout, and all the glass ceilings in the house will break. Are you understanding?
Yes.
So, even if we have to work with fear,
Mhm.
we have to first work at the root cause, at the limbic level of a human being. And then we have all these systems through which we peel the layer
Mhm.
of psychology that we have created, of these so many masks that we are wearing, so that we can get to the root cause and then bring changes at the root level. Only then the changes are long lasting and qualitative. Otherwise, everybody feels good and motivated at one point or the other. The question is, till when does the motivation last?
Yeah.
On 1st of January, I also want to become thin.
Uh,
On 1st of February, pizza looks good.
mhm.
Motivation goes down the drain.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to do things, but
Mhm.
how long do they want? What happens is they are wearing a mask that gets motivated, then they are wearing another mask, motivation is gone. So we
Correct.
must get to the real,
Mhm.
work on the real, find the real. It cannot be done through pharmaceutical. It cannot be done through so many techniques. In
Mhm.
fact, the only way it can be done is by remembering a simple thing: God help those who want to help
Themselves.
themselves. So
Correct.
sit in a corner, meditate.
Mhm.
Meditate, because you cannot change how other people act, but you can change how you react to
Mhm.
other people. You cannot change the way the environment is around you, but you can change yourself to either thrive in that environment or become extinct. Meditation is the only path to evolution. And we are the people who try to teach the real meditation. Because meditation is not just about walking on the grass or eating a dry fruit or watching fire burning. It is something deep, it is something personal, it is something very scientific and systematic. And I'm happy that now we have the opportunity to bring these systems to the United States of America. And why I feel that we are happy? Because if you ask me, today United States is like the brain to the whole world. And if there is a healthy brain, we have a healthy body.
Correct.
So let's make the brain as healthy as we can.
Thank you.